Hi, hello, Nancy here, Keto for Real Life People. And I just want to say welcome to my very first master class. I don't claim to be a true master. I guess I didn't go to culinary school or anything like that. But I do love cooking. I'm passionate about it. And a lot of times when I'm creating new recipes or doing a tutorial, I get asked all the time, why didn't mine turn out like yours? So, as a perk to my YouTube fan club members and higher, I thought I would put together a class that would feature certain ingredients or maybe recipes, techniques, tips, tricks, just various things that would help you become more adept in the kitchen. One of the things that I love is cauliflower, especially with our way of eating. Cauliflower is humble, it's simple, and you think, wow, is there really that much you can do with it, or do I really need to learn about it? I kind of think there's a lot of good things about cauliflower that you can learn. Back in the day when I first started using it, I really was disappointed a lot of the times. When I would make a recipe, it would taste really gross. I would have pizza crust. The first time I made it, it was like I was eating a giant cauliflower. The first time I tried to make cauliflower mash, it tasted watery and like cauliflower. And it just continued along that line. Over the years, I started researching. I looked at some of my favorite vloggers, their recipes. I learned from them tips, tricks, and then some of it is just pure trial and error. I'm at a point right now where I just, think to myself, hey, what can I do with it? I want this or I want that, and I try to make it happen. And a lot of times the ingredient is cauliflower. So before we get started, I just want to go over a few things about cauliflower. It is a cruciferous vegetable. It is very high in fiber. It contains great sources of B vitamins, vitamin K, vitamin C. It has antioxidants. It's a super nutritious, densely nutrient vegetable that is 100% keto. And I'd like to point out that eating keto cauliflower is still eating clean. It's just one of the great things that you can incorporate into your way of eating that makes things so delicious. Prime example, last night my husband had mashed cauliflower and some of my chicken waffles and keto country gravy and green beans, and he took his first bite of that cauliflower and he was like, this is good. I did point out that when you've been keto for a while and you haven't had a potato in forever, cauliflower mash tastes darn good. And let me tell you, it wasn't handmade or homemade. I just bought one of those frozen bird's eye cauliflower cauliflower mashes. Can't talk. Anyway, it was awesome. That was a stepping stone. Okay, that's a stepping stone for him, because if you can eat that, if you take the time to make your own cauliflower mash and you use the right techniques, they won't even know that it's cauliflower. So let's get into this. It's versatile, it's delicious, it's nutritious, and let's get cooking. Of this, we're going to start out with talking about just various ways you can buy, purchase, or use cauliflower. I'm going to hold up the ingredients for you real quick, and then we're going to pan in and you're going to get to see hands-on what we're going to do with it. So, if you are not a major cook, your first tip is really not being a master, it's being easy. And you can do things with this. This is just some Green Giant mashed cauliflower, cheddar, and bacon. Easy peasy, right? You're like, oh, anybody can do that. You just throw it in the microwave, nuke it, follow the instructions, and voila, you have some mashed pureed cauliflower. Unfortunately, this particular brand, which I have bought, is very soupy and does not sit like mashed potatoes. But it does make a really quick cauliflower potato soup, if you will, or you can use it as a base to thicken things. So you can buy it this way. If you're gonna buy an alternate brand and you really don't have time to make your own, or you just don't feel like it, there's the Bird's Eye smaller container of the mashed cauliflower, or cauliflower mash, whatever you want to call it, and it is really tasty, and it does in a pinch. But this deserves a quick mention because even though I don't find it to be useful for eating mashed cauliflower, it is great for a quick soup. In 5 minutes flat, you could have a nice creamy batch of easy potato soup. A little cream, a little butter, voila. Some green onion, load it, you're done. Quick, fast. Secondly, my go-to, I keep stocked up. I just buy the organic, great value brand from Walmart. This cauliflower, is riced, it's frozen, it's organic, it's $1.87 a bag in my store. I keep this stuff stocked up because I don't always feel like ricing my own, okay? I guess you could call this the convenience section. But there are a lot of things that you can do with this cauliflower. You can steam it, you can add tomatoes and cilantro and peppers and make your own Spanish rice. I use it to make Chinese style fried rice. I use it to make grits. I use it to make risotto. I mean, it's versatile, folks. Get this in your freezer because it makes life easy, okay? And then this, now I don't even know about this, but I bought it because I wanted to include it in this all things cauliflower class. And this, y'all, as you can see, it's not even open, is cauliflower flour. What? I didn't even know they did like anything like this until I went and bought some convenient wraps at, I think it was at Aldi's, and there were these little wraps, and I looked at the ingredients list and it listed cauliflower flour. I was like, oh, I gotta get me some of that. But I can see where this could be very useful if you're making pizza crust or you're baking things, especially savory things, where this could be a really added bonus. I'm also curious if it will act as a natural thickener, because that could be pretty awesome too. This I bought on Amazon. It ran me about $10.99 or $10.69 for 1 pound bag. I read the reviews. It says, they say it smells, but for the most part, it had a lot of positive feedback on it. So we'll see how that. Last but not least, the cauliflower. This little baby right here is miraculous in all that it can do, and we're going to cover how to go from this to, well, maybe not so much this, but I'm sure if you just dehydrate it and grind it up, voila, you have flour. But you can also rice your own, which if you have the time and you love meal prep, this could be one of your great things, because you can rice this, put it in baggies, and keep it in the freezer ready to rock and roll. So we're going to learn how to rice it, we're going to learn how to mash it, we're going to learn how to roast it, apply it into our soups, and prep it. Are you ready? Let's cauliflower together. All right, so the cauliflower is versatile, y'all. One of the ways that I like to make this is one of the simplest, is just plain roasting it. You can take this and slice it into steaks. You could just do the florets. You could drizzle it with a little olive oil, seasoning of choice, marinate it if you want to, and then pop it down on a baking dish that you just lined with some parchment paper. Stick it in the oven at about 425 degrees, and then just let it go until it's your desired doneness. And I love saying that. There's no amount of time. It's where you like it. Some people like it kind of crunchy. Some people like it a little soft. I like it fork tender. So it could take anywhere from about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on your oven, but it is super easy. So let's start with the basics, roasting. All right, so one thing that I'm gonna do right away is I'm gonna pop this in the microwave and get it pretty much thawed. It doesn't have to be cooked all the way, you just want it thawed. And I'm gonna just show you a quick way to make a fast cauliflower soup that is delicious, easy, still nutritious. But if you're a busy person and don't have time, then that's gonna be my little quick cheat meal for y'all. And so let's get this in the microwave and we'll keep going. And that's how you make really quick potato soup with frozen store-bought cauliflower. It's so good, y'all. I mean, it just so happened that the temperature dropped outside. It got cold. Well, technically it's 72 degrees, but the AC was going, so I got chilly. My master class is probably not like anybody else's. So anyway, that's really, really, really good. And all we had to do was saute a little bit of onions and butter, add the heavy cream until you get to the thickness you like for your soup. Let it sit for a minute on the stove just so that it bubbles and gets hot all the way through. And then top it with your favorite things. I added cheddar cheese, some bacon, and a little bit of chopped parsley. And my husband already has a bowl. He's eating it. One down. Let's see how our roasted cauliflower is doing. Roasted cauliflower, y'all. So easy, so delicious. I mean, I hit it with a little extra oil. I mean, you're supposed to just drizzle a little olive oil, but I like giving it a little spray of the coconut oil. It kind of just works its way down into it. And for these wonderful cauliflower steaks, is what they call them, you can't get any cleaner. You've got good, clean, healthy fat, all right? Then you've got whatever protein you choose, makes a wonderful side. Wonderful. These little florets can be served as a side dish as well. You were doing a family style or you just didn't feel like slicing steaks, you could break it all apart and just have some roasted cauliflower on the side. Crumble anything you want on top of it, a little butter, drizzle a little butter or bacon, whatever you want to put on top of it, or just eat it plain. I like plain cauliflower. It is so tasty. This has just enough of the little crunch left to it just to make it delicious, but other than that, it's learn how to get a really super good cauliflower mash. I mean, so delicious that it fools people. Alrighty, here we go. Now we're going to do the cauliflower mash. And I'm going to tell you, the first time I tried this recipe was clear back in 2016, the very first time I ever gave keto a try. And it blew my socks off. I have to give credit where credit is due. I wish I could claim this for my own recipe, but it goes to I Breathe, I'm Hungry. She is awesome. She has a wonderful blog. Her recipes are divine. She lives a charmed life. I wish I could meet her because, like, I'm a fan. But the first time I tried this recipe, it was fantastic. So I was so inspired by it that I actually made it for Thanksgiving instead of potatoes. And my family is like 20 something people. Don't mind the girl back here. She's looking for anything I drop on the floor. So I'm going to tell you, this is cauliflower, fresh to table deliciousness. Over the years, I've done a couple of different things with it. Sometimes you need to, sometimes you don't. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna follow her recipe. And this is all you do, guys. And it's the equipment you're gonna need is a food processor or a high-power blender that can take hot food. I'm gonna use my food processor. I don't like to use my Ninja for hot. It just doesn't seem to do well with hot liquids. Okay, so we have got our cauliflower. This recipe calls for about a head of cauliflower. You're gonna end up with a couple of cups worth of mashed. So all you do, as I'm hoping we can see here what I'm doing, is I've got them quartered right now, and we're just gonna take the little florets off, and we're gonna add them to a bowl, okay? You just break them up, get them in there. I kind of want them smaller. I don't want them large, you know. I just kind of break them up into pieces. This is so easy. It's just mind-blowing, y'all. Okay, and then just continue. We're just gonna break it right off of the core. We're not gonna use the core. I think in her recipe she did use the core, and she ended up with a little graininess once, and she said it had to do with the membrane being tough or old. So if your cauliflower's been sitting there waiting for you to get to it in the refrigerator, you might just skip the core. I've got 3 cauliflowers today that I've been working with, and I've got plenty, so I'm just using florets. It's gonna make for delish. I'll get this one here, and this will finish it up. Mine was rather a large head of cauliflower. Flying cauliflower, it looked like popcorn. There we go. I'm breaking off that part of the core. So there you go. We've got a good size. I know my lighting bit here. Now to this is where it gets really easy, okay? So she modified her recipe, I noticed. It's not the same as when I tried it all the years ago. So I was trying to go over, I wanted to make sure that I gave credit from where I was inspired by this recipe, who originated it, and she has since modified it and lowered her fat content. So she says 4 tablespoons of heavy cream. I remember having a little bit more. She also says 1 tablespoon of butter. I got 3. Let me wipe my hands real quick. So all you're gonna do is just take this, give it a little turn, just grab a spatula here, just to kind of coat your raw cauliflower, and then it's gonna go in the microwave. Now, depending on your microwave, it could take anywhere. Oh, this one's kind of big. Oh, this slid right past me there. So we're gonna get that broke down. Glad I gave it a stir. So depending on your microwave, y'all, I'm gonna say this is gonna take between 10 to 15 minutes. You don't wanna cover it or anything like that. You're just gonna let it go in there. Halfway through the process, I'm gonna stir it and then let it finish, and then we'll continue. All right, this one took about 15 minutes because that was quite a bit of cauliflower. So I used a couple hot pads, I pulled it out, I gave it a stir halfway through. It is just now reduced down to about that much. The bowl is extremely hot, so be careful during this process, y'all. Get your cauliflower and put it into your processor bowl. Now here's where the fun comes in. You're gonna add some salt and pepper to taste. I always tell everybody to taste. It drives me nuts when I say like a 1/4 teaspoon of salt or a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, because it's all subjective. I try to give a guideline what I do, but it's usually just pinches. So probably 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, pepper, garlic salt, whatever you like, to this mixed jar. Important ingredient. This is the Cabot brand extra sharp white cheddar cheese. Why it's so important is because it has such a strong flavor. It counteracts the cauliflower flavor. Now she said 2 ounces, but I remember back in the day that I like to add like about 1.5 cups, and I'll hold off for a second. Let's just see what it does. So I used about half that. That's what you get when you're recording. You're like, maybe I should not do that. Right? Click that, and we're gonna click that, and then we're gonna just turn this on. If you need to adjust seasoning, you can do that. If you want a little more cream or butter, you can do that. It's just getting the process started. Now I'm gonna check this because it goes pretty darn quick. Got my spatula here, and it is very, very, very creamy. You can see, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna give it a taste. Let me get a spoon real quick. A fork, I guess. A fork will work. And I think it's gonna need just a titch more blending because I could still taste a few little grains. But I am going to add just a little bit more of this cheese. It does something miraculous to it. It makes the dish so fantastic. You don't want it to be gluey, but you do want that in there. So let's put that back on and go. And there, it looks nice and creamy now. Oh, that's what I'm talking about, baby. I do think it needs just a little bit more pepper. I will tell you, I have modified her recipe over the years to suit my needs. Like if I didn't have sharp cheddar cheese or I didn't have enough, I would do a combination, reduce my cheese a little, add a little cream cheese. Now there's a big truck pulling up in my driveway. We shall see what that's about. Always something. Okay, I don't know what to expect here. If you go to her blog, if you go to I Breathe I'm Hungry and look up cauliflower mash, the best cheesy cauliflower puree, you read her article. It cracks me up because when she came up with this recipe, she ate the whole thing. She saved just enough to take a couple of pictures and then made it again the next day. She fell in love with it, and once you taste it, you will too. I kid you not. For reals. It's delicious. I gotta go see who this is. I can stop right now. One more pepper. Ta-da! All right, now then, let's just get a bowl out and get this. As it gives a minute to set here, you can see this has the mouthfeel of potatoes, y'all. There's something magical about that cheese, the butter, the cream, salt, pepper, simple ingredients. That is just lovely, lovely. I should make it more often because now that my husband is keto, he is a tater dude, you know, meat and potatoes. So he misses them. This would definitely satisfy that craving for him. Now then, if you like, here we go. You can take and just, you know, serve it. Put a little bit of green onion on top. So good. If you wanted to add roasted garlic. Again, so many possibilities. One simple dish. So, yes, 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 yes to homemade mashed cauliflower. All right, y'all. Tip number 2 when dealing with the frozen cauliflower rice. This is an invaluable lesson right here. A lot of times people will, you know, take this, open it up, put it in the pan, saute it, add whatever they want, and they're like, it really has a strong cauliflower taste. And if you love cauliflower, that's great. And if you feel like eating cauliflower, that's great. But if you're craving something, say risotto, grits, Spanish rice, fried rice, then you don't really want it to taste like cauliflower. So it doesn't matter if it's frozen or it doesn't matter if it's coming from fresh. Pre-cooking it before using it for your recipe is a must if you want it to really taste like the real deal. okay? So a lot of times, no matter what I'm doing, I always, if I'm gonna be making something with cauliflower, I toss this into the microwave, I go for 5 or 6 minutes on it, I bring it out, I let it set a minute while I'm doing my stuff. Then when I'm ready to use it, I use it. I twice cook it. That eliminates so much of the vegetable flavor and still allows the dish, whatever it is, the rice style dish that you want, to really shine. I don't know how many times that I have been visiting family, friends, away on trips where I've cooked for other families, and I've used that technique. It's just something I've done automatically and fooled them straight up. And you're like, well, it's great. I mean, I've got friends who aren't keto and they didn't know, and then they were pleasantly surprised, and it gets them thinking, hey, I might be able to do this. So that's just like my number one trick or hack, if you will, is always cook your cauliflower twice. Start it out in the microwave, finish it off in whatever dish you're making. Here, so you can see. All right, so I've cut my cauliflower in half, and you can still see that there's some of this on. It's had a quick rinse. All right. Now then, you can leave this intact because the core is actually pretty tender and we don't have to waste any of it. We just want to take and cut the leaves off the bottom because they're not as tasty, and give it a little trim similar to that right there. And we'll do the same right this direction. And let's get this one here that's kind of hiding. It's playing peekaboo. We'll just pop it off. And I want to get that cut off from when it was taken out of it. Now then, again, I mentioned 2 ways. You can also use a food processor, and I've not used the ricing attachment or the shredder attachment. I've just pulsed it with the main blade. It's not as consistent that way. Make it a little faster. Yeah, it kind of fits this direction a little bit better. It grates very easy. Cauliflower is mostly water, so it's not like it's very hard to do. And watch out for your little pieces, okay? And just, I'm gonna set a couple that are falling apart and keep it going. And when it gets down to a point that you just can't do it anymore, then grab another piece and go. I'm just taking a slower approach for the moment. And I'm pretty much down to that little stem. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. So see, it looks just like rice. And if you find one that fell off, you can just pull it out. And that's how quickly it goes. I'm taking out any of the little florets that have gotten in there, and you might even have a few shreds, but this is wonderful. Now at this point, just with this rice, you could steam it and pop it in the microwave for about 5 minutes, pull it out, and you've got plain steamed rice. From there, you can make it into any other dish, and we're fixing to make some risotto. Okay, so we're gonna make a wonderful dish called beefy cauli rice. It's one of my go-to dishes. I came up with the recipe the first year I started keto. It's a family favorite, and I'll show you how quick this is. Still, I want you to use the same rule. I'm gonna put this in the microwave for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we were gonna go on over and use it to make a wonderful beefy cauli rice with a little Spanish flair. All right, so now we have beefy cauli rice, you guys. It is so good. This is a really complete meal because you've got nice high fat from your ground beef. It was an 80-20 that I used. Then we've got our veg, which is excellent in the form of rice that doesn't taste like rice. And I used some taco seasoning mix. My favorite salsa, you can use just plain old tomato sauce if you don't like spicy, or you can use whatever tomato sauce you like, about a quarter cup. And then top it with a little cheese, a little cilantro, a little bit of sour cream, or in this case, this is Mexican crema, which I'm just addicted to. Not quite as sour, but just as creamy and delicious. So yeah, yum guys. I mean, ooh, so tasty. This is so fast and so easy. Like, it is one of those less than 20 minutes, probably less than 15 minutes to make it total. So super easy. Rice cauliflower, so versatile. If you tried this, let me know.